Tonight, our guest is Ann Kojis, who was the founder of a program called StoryLink. She and her husband Tony have been working on this for many, many years. And we're going to just let her tell her story about kind of her background and what led her down this path of StoryLink. So I'm just going to give it to Mary.
Okay.
Yay!
Well, first of all, I want to thank Suzanne, Alex, and JC for inviting me to come this evening for this captivating conversation about StoryLink, Idaho. Our main mission is linking children to their incarcerated family through the gift of reading. And so being a teacher also of 39 years, I actually beat Suzanne by 4 years, I always have known that reading is very important for a child to learn how to do and to have a book read to the child. So in 2010, I was a clown and still am a clown. I found this book. It's called A Dozen Red Noses. Now I thought, what do you get to do if you are a famous clown of 10 only that would do something so important? Well, I opened it up. And of course, inside was Dana and his wife Aberstein, who are clowns, and they were from Missouri. I opened it up and I saw this picture of a resident reading a book. Well, what is that all about? And that's exactly what it was. She was reading a book to her children, and so I called up Dana, and I said, Dana, can I do StoryLink in Idaho? And he said, of course. And I thought, I can do that. And the rest really is history. So, you never know what clowns can do. Okay. So that's kind of the history of what I do. And so far, we have sent 11,142 books to children of the incarcerated or grandchildren. Okay.
So let's go ahead and, I'm told I have to do this. So let's go ahead and just kind of talk about the prisons that you serve and the men and women that you serve and how they go about becoming part of the StoryLink program.
Okay. So we actually, StoryLink goes out to all 7 prisons that's located on Pleasant Valley Road here in Boise. We also go to Orofino, and we go to Cottonwood, and we're hoping that maybe we'll be going to East Boise for StoryLink. And then also, we have Pocatello. There's a pastor over there that she has started a StoryLink program just like mine before I had started it. And so her church takes care of all the books and goes out to the prison, or goes out to the prison in Pocatello. We're also looking to go to St. Anthony Transition Center, and that's about how many we go to.
Okay. So this program is available to men and women?
Yes, it is.
Correct, okay. And then how do the residents begin the process of becoming part of StoryLink?
Okay. The first thing that they do as residents in the prison is they fill out a StoryLink application. And it's an IDOC. It's an IDOC approved. And I want to be sure you all know that anything that I do with my volunteers in StoryLink, it has all been approved with IDOC. So if you're a resident, you just fill out this StoryLink application. You turn this into the VSC, who is the Volunteer Services Coordinator. And the VSC, they actually handle any volunteer that comes into the prison. After you have turned this in to the person, then you will get approved. And the only thing that you might not get approved in is if you have a no contact order, which is you cannot have any contact with your child. But other than that, and then you are put on a on a call out sheet. You probably know what that is when you get called out, and you would come in and read. So we let residents read, but we only send books to any states that are in the United States of America at this moment.
So if you are called out and you are approved to be part of the program, how often do they see you, and what is the process for this person once they come to see you and the books that they have to read and from then on?
Okay, so if they are on the call-out sheet, then they come out, and of course, the first thing is they sign in for StoryLink and they sign in for IDoc, and then they sit down and they listen to a presentation about what StoryLink is all about. And the most important thing that I want to share with you tonight as far as what the process is that you come out and you get to choose any book that you want. Now, we have books that are 2 to 4 years of age. We have books that are 4 to 6, 6 to 10, and 10 to 14. And we have board books for the children that are 1 year old. And of course, the board books have a hard cover. And the reason they're called board books, and they're good for a child that's probably up to 2 years, they can still chew on them, because that's one thing that they like to do. But they like to chew on them, they like to turn them upside down, and they like to look at the pictures. They're still into pictures. They don't worry about reading. So that's the first thing that we have. Then we also have, this is a book that's called I Love You as Big as the World. Well, look at this. It's also a board book, so you see this is a perfect book for the young child that's maybe, although this can be taken by a 2 to 4 year old, and the residents, they can choose whatever book they want, whatever case. We have these nice bins that they're in so they can see which ones are for 2 to 4. We also have softcover books. Froggy's First Kiss is always fun because Froggy is always doing something wrong. Then we also have spiritual books for them to choose. And then, of course, we just have holiday. We have lots of holiday books. But then sometimes it's seasonal. Well, right now we have taken out a lot of snow books out there because snow right now is pretty. The last type of book that we have are chapter books. The chapter books are for the children that are, or the residents who are 10 to 14.
So after a resident picks out a book, do they have an opportunity to practice reading before you sit down with them? And then what is kind of the time frame that you have when you go out to the site and meet and have them read to you?
Okay. So after you choose the book, you choose an envelope. No, excuse me. You give the book to the volunteer to fit the book into the envelope. And then you get to choose the color of your CD. Then after the volunteer has put the CD in the book, then you go sit down and you address it to they address it to the caregiver, And they can do the second line to their children if they choose. And then they have a chance to read and to practice reading. I always encourage them to use some animation. Like if you see a dog on the picture, woof, bark, bark. Because that brings the child into the book. That makes them smile or to just be happy. I wonder where the dog is going to be on the next page. I also, when they come in to read, we have this very, very small little recorder. And we record the residents reading the book. Now, before they read the book, we always say to them certain things that you have to say, your first and last name, and then the name of the children's, and what relation you are to that child. So once we have this going and we press record and extend our hand, the residents know that's when they start reading. And we always give you about a 6-minute first, and then we say, okay, we will extend our fingers for six fingers, and when you see that, kind of wrap it up. Now, we're not going to take this book here that has to do about Miss Froggy or how to catch a snowman. If you got 2 pages left, we always let them finish reading the book. When it comes to the chapter books, which they really can't read a chapter book in 6 minutes, so we say, okay, Susie Q, I'm going to stop reading on page 12. The next time I talk to you on the phone, you tell me how the story ended. And so probably it ends up to being about 8 to 10 minutes for the finished product. And then we go home, we put the recordings onto a computer, and then we burn the readings. Now, when we use and all the readings are on this CD. And when we mail them, probably within 2 days after they read the book.
So can a resident continue to come back? Let me back up. How often do you go out?
We go out to every prison once a month, all 7 of them, and then the Cottonwood and Orofino, they also go once a month.
And so if a resident has read 1 month, can they come back and read the next month?
They can read as many months as they fill out the application and get approved. You can go every month if you want.
And is the number of residents based on the number of volunteers that you have?
Well, we have a lot of volunteers, and we just schedule the volunteers, let them sign up if they are able to go, and we always make it work. We're fine with volunteers.
So how many do you have?
I have about 35 volunteers, considering all the other states, or the whole state.
Mm-hmm. And what is their commitment when they decide to come and become involved in StoryLink? What is a volunteer's commitment, and what is their process?
We just give them a StoryLink application, not the one that the residents are going to fill out. And we just kind of call them and talk to them on the phone and invite them to come to a very, very interesting, captivating orientation that is done by Jeff Kirkman. And Jeff Kirkman has done those since I've been in this since 2010, and he's a very wonderful volunteer coordinator for the Idaho Department of Corrections.
So you're going to steal the captivating and start using it for StoryLink. Okay, we're going to have to talk about that later.
Oh, no, I wouldn't do that.
Okay, so
No,
does a volunteer have to pass a background check? What is the situation before they can actually go out onto the sites?
Right, after they make the StoryLink, the IDOC application, then they get their background check.
Okay.
And I haven't had anyone not show up. And then I have a new volunteer training
Okay.
And an old voluntary training. Of course, we don't call them old, we just call them seasoned volunteers.
Of course they are. Absolutely. So what, your books, are your books donated, or do you purchase the books selectively? How do you go about that? What's that process?
Oh, my word. So actually, I've actually had books fall out of the sky. Well, not really, but it seems like we started out, my husband and I, we had this two-car garage. And do you think we have ever put any of those two cars in our garage? No.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah. And actually, we now rent a storage because we've gone into so many books and a lot of preparations and a lot of envelopes and CDs and yes.
So do you specifically select the books, or do you just take whatever's given to you? Is there a process, before
Anything
you
that
share
they
them?
any books that are given to us, we always check for any rib pages or any color marks, or you know how this fancy writing that these young people do, these young children, they write on it. And if it's, we really would like to have a new book or a gently used book.
For sure.
Because you can tell, and when I see a book that's really used a lot, that makes me happy because it means that those children have had a chance to listen to their parents or their sisters and brothers read a book to them.
Right.
But
right.
we want to make them as nice as we can when we take them out to the prisons.
Have you ever had a recently released resident come and want to volunteer for StoryLink?
No, I have not.
But you have a testimony from a friend whose daughter did receive a book
Yes.
from him?
Yes, thank you. So I was over at Ontario at the Snake River Prison, and this grandfather came in, and he said, "Mary Ann, I'm taking a chance. I'm going to read a book to my grandchild today. My daughter has said it was okay." So he sent it, and then every month we would come back to Ontario. He would continue to read a book to his granddaughter. Well, by the time that he was able to get out, he said to me, "Mary Ann, you are responsible for building a new relationship with my daughter and my granddaughter." Now, it wasn't me. I was grateful that he said that to me, to be responsible. But it was his reading, his voice, his desire to finally have a relationship with his daughter and a granddaughter. And I hear a lot of stories like that.
So you've had a lot of good positive feedback. Have you had any negative feedback from the program?
I don't think I can remember any because I
That's
try
good.
not to remember things like that.
I agree, 100%. It's time to move forward.
You
Move
know,
forward.
That's immaterial.
Yes. So is there any other component that you'd like to share with us that we've missed, volunteer-wise, institution-wise?
So the one thing that I would like to share with you is because we've been sending CDs are now obsolete, and a lot of people don't have CD recorders. They're not putting CD recorders in the computer, which I had to buy a new computer, and I don't have a CD recorder. And also, I always wonder how long these CDs are going to last when they get home, to maybe if there's a lot of children there. So I've been working on going to the cloud. No, I'm working on taking the readings to the cloud. I'm not going.
Okay, not yet.
Not yet, it's not time. So what we're going to do is we're going to still have the same little recorder. I might buy some new ones, if there's any that I need to buy, but until they break, I have to keep them. No. And we're going to go home. Again, we're going to put them on a computer, and then when we have finished putting them on the computer, we will put a QR code in the book and a QR code on the caregiver letter that goes in the envelope that goes home with the book. Now, this is amazing. Well, this is technology at its best. We will be able to put all their readings on the computer, and the children will be able to listen to the stories to all of them. If their parent or grandparent has read for 8 readings, all 8 readings will be on the computer up in the cloud. So we're very excited about that.
So you'll save money then on CDs, right? You won't be purchasing CDs anymore, but you're going to...
No, I don't want to purchase any more CDs.
But you
really
have a
it.
tech person that is doing this for you, correct? Somebody who is taking care of digitizing all this for you?
Well, I have a lot of volunteers, and I actually formed a board a couple of years ago because I figured it's about time that I get some networking between other volunteers, and instead of just my husband being the one that listens to me talk about all these things. And we have volunteers that do different things. The biggest job, I think, and that was, you were to ask me about an obstacle. I think the biggest obstacle there is kind of working with the volunteers. No.
Oops.
No, they're really wonderful people, and they do a great job. And they're so wonderful when we go out to the prison, whether it's raining or snowing, we go out there. And one thing that StoryLink has done for the last couple of years, if we have gone zinging at the women's prison and South Boise and PRC, and then we went to Sickey, we did some zinging. Now, that's like singing. But my volunteers that went out with me, and my husband was the main director, they decided they wanted to be zingers, zinging instead of singing. And we also collect yarn, and we also, for the residents, every prison out there has now a yarn club or a crochet club, and they're just wonderful. And we do the best. We bring calendars, Christmas cards. Now, instead of having books in my garage, I have yarn and calendars. Yes.
So one last thing I wanted to ask, too, was, is the resident, as they're reading before or after, are they allowed to share a private message with that person that they're reading to?
Yes, they are allowed to write a message. The message can only be words, English words that we can read. I have tried to do something with the Spanish language, but it hasn't been successful. They don't show up for it. I had a interpreter there that could listen, but we do just no hearts, no icons, just words.
That's great. That's great. Well, we do want to show a little video. Mary Ann, StoryLink, you were interviewed by KTVB. Did that happen twice?
No, that was actually someone from St. Vincent de Paul that did some public relations for us that did that.
That did a video, and it was shown on a news channel, or where was it? How is it shown?
Well, right now, if you go to StoryLink Idaho YouTube on the computer, you can see one that Dee Sarden did when she went out to South Boise to show the whole process, and it showed me reading a book to one of the residents.
Yeah, so we're going to show that to end our session tonight.
StoryLink is when the volunteers and I go out to the prisons, and the people who are incarcerated choose a book to read to their child or grandchild. We record them reading that book, and then we send the recording and the book to the child and the grandchild of the people who are incarcerated. This is a McGivney family. But when their father was incarcerated, he was able to read many books that we provided for him through the StoryLink program to read to his children, and we recorded them.
StoryLink, to me, it's an opportunity for my father to be able to read to me and be able to, give me some imagery of him speaking while he's not there.
He sent those books and those recordings, and also he wrote messages in those books. And those children will have those memories forever.
Love you boys so much. You always... What does it say?
You're always on my mind.
So you're always on my mind, love, Dad.
I think that it's good to have because you know that they're still thinking about you and they care about you a lot.
It just gives us a piece to hold on to from, our fathers when, we don't get to talk to him every day or when we go to bed at night or anything like that.
I think that just having a person that is incarcerated, when they are linked to their children and their grandchildren who they miss very much, it gives the family more cohesiveness. It keeps that family together more, and it encourages a family to give those people who are incarcerated a support system that we do love you, we miss you.
Pretty wonderful, huh? Yeah, it's amazing.
So that's a long story. So the lady, the lady on the picture, her father was already incarcerated at Max for life. And then when the son went out to ISCC, he was there a few years. He came back to be with his children, and something went wrong. And so he passed away. So these three boys, when the father passed away, it was really hard for them when they read these books. And I guess I go through this being so thankful that just seeing that one book about what a clown did back in 2010 made me say, I can do this, so I can bring this to all their residents, through the gift of reading, to connect with their children and pray that they'll be together forever the rest of their life. And that's my blessing.
Perfect ending.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Does anybody have any questions?
Okay.
Would anybody like to ask a question or share anything? Yeah, please.
I just wanted to say that I did StoryLink when I was over at Sicky. You guys came and what I really appreciated was the range of books that they had, because there were a lot of topics in there that are important that parents want to talk to kids about, but may struggle and have difficulty in how to do it. And so my grandsons, I was barely just starting to get to know my grandsons when I ended up here in Idaho in prison, and they're in Nevada, so I don't have visits with them. And so, but I had been praying and praying and praying, and it was heavy on my heart that I needed to talk to them about Jesus. And then you guys called me for StoryLink, and you had a book in there that was perfect for their age group and how I could talk to them about Jesus, and it had the whole salvation prayer in it. And the ladies that were recording me were amazing. They did the prayer with me and everything, and it was absolutely awesome. And their mom said that they were so excited when the envelopes showed up and they tore it open, and so it was just really a huge blessing to be able to connect with them in that way and to be able to talk to them about Jesus, because that's important. But there was all sorts of different topics too, like how to being kind and being a good friend, and learning subjects like the ABCs, and just the variety was it was awesome. I couldn't wait to come back the next month and find another topic that I wanted to talk to them about but didn't know how. So I thought that was really wonderful. And just what you do is amazing. I just appreciate you guys. God bless you guys so much.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Yes. So I have a volunteer here tonight. her and her husband came to just kind of support me. Would you like to say something about your experience as a volunteer? Because I can tell JC wants to be a volunteer. Oh, he's right there. Oh, I didn't know you were so close.
Oh, what do I say? It's very rewarding. I'm a retired school teacher, and so it links me because I love children, obviously, and I loved books, so this was a perfect fit. And the story link is very symbolic because reading does that. And I taught third grade for a lot of years, and the best time was after that lunch recess when I would sit and the kids would sit, and we shared a book. And those are the memories I have. I have other great memories. But to record when someone comes in and you make that connection, and you know that person loves a child, and that connects. And there are a lot of, sometimes you can see in a person's face how emotional it is. And I usually say, forget about me. You're reading to your child. And then that's it. And there's something that happens in that connection. It's not verbal, but it happens. And they're so thankful. You can see that. They may not verbalize it, but they are very thankful. And then it's mutual. You know, it's a good experience to have. So, is it Jason? Yes. JD.
Boy, we're really picking on JC.
So do you guys have to be teachers to be a part of this?
Yes. It helps, but anyway, it's a great connection. Thanks.
Story Link Idaho, and if you want to volunteer after you do your pro work, I'd love to have you. You bet. You are welcome.